Welcome to Chapter 2. We're going to be talking about the SAIL program. I want to talk about the senior fall prevention study that was done to actually help us develop and translate the SAIL program into a community program. And it was called the Senior Falls Prevention Study, and it identified exercise classes for seniors and identified that it should include strength and balance training. The goals of the SAIL program were to improve strength and balance and to decrease the risk of falls. So what is the what and the why? Studies have shown that regular physical activity helps prevent and manage chronic diseases and helps prevent falls. It also improves health and helps maintain independence, which all seniors want to be independent as long as possible. And it also can improve their quality of life, which again is another goal of most seniors. They looked at some best practice guidelines and several sources, and this is just to give you an idea of the extent of research that went into this program, went into developing a senior fall prevention program. So it lists here some of the best practice publications that are available: the RAND report, the Cochrane Review, Canadian Best Practice Guidelines, and the Centers for Disease Control. So what does the research say? So they looked at the Surgeon General's report on older adults, and it basically said, they can obtain significant health benefits with doing a moderate amount of physical activity, preferably daily. But the moderate amount of activity can be obtained in longer sessions with more intense activities such as walking, or shorter sessions such as walking or stair walking, or fast walking or stair walking. Some of the additional health benefits gained through these greater amounts of physical activity help to increase duration, intensity, and frequency, either by doing that, increasing those things. And because of risk of injury, the increases at high levels of physical activity, they're saying care should be taken not to engage in too much activity. Now, I know that's good news to a lot of you guys. Previously, sedentary older adults who begin physical activity programs should start with short intervals of moderate physical activity, 5 to 10 minutes, and gradually build up to the desired amount. Also, we always encourage folks to consult their physician before they begin any new physical activity program. In addition to aerobic activity, older adults can benefit from muscle strengthening activities. I think a lot of senior adults tend to shy away from using weights, but the way that the SAIL program does that, these are light weights that are going to be used. And we know that stronger muscles help reduce the risk of falling and improve the ability to perform the routine tasks of daily life. The loss of strength and stamina is attributed to aging, is in part caused by reduced physical activity. Many people, after they retire, they may have been very active in their job, their career, and then they retire, and maybe they don't continue to maintain that activity. So inactivity tends to increase with age, and by age 75, about 1 in 3 men and 1 in 2 women engage in no physical activity. So among adults age 65 and older, walking and gardening or yard work are usually the most popular physical activities. And those are great, but we want to bump that up a little bit. And then also social support from family and friends has consistently and positively related to regular physical activity. And what that's referring to is, hey, my buddy Sam, goes to exercise 3 times a week, and he calls me and said, hey, it's time to go exercise. So it really helps having a friend or a family member who encourages that senior to continue with their activity. So here's some recommendations from the American College of Sports Medicine, and it's consistent with, there's some activity guidelines that were written back in 2008, and again, encouraging adults to engage in at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity exercise. The scientific evidence that they have reviewed is indisputable, and this is from Carol Garber. And she's the chair of the writing committee. The conclusion is, when it comes to exercise, the benefits far outweigh the risk. A program of regular exercise beyond the activities of daily living. A lot of people think, well, I'm active. I mean, I get up and I fix my breakfast and I clean the dishes, and so, but that is not exactly what we're talking about. So beyond those activities, doing a regular exercise program is essential for most adults. And the basic recommendations, some things that we've already mentioned, but cardiorespiratory exercise or aerobic exercise, resistance exercise, flexibility exercise, and neuromotor exercises. And that includes motor skills, including balance, coordination, gait, agility, and I'm not going to say that last word, but because I'll mess it up. But those are important things that need to be included in an exercise program. This slide just shows a couple of the articles that you might want to look at a future date, but are really interesting and give a lot of perspective about activities for senior adults. From the National Institute on Aging, again, some recommendations: strengthening, aerobic conditioning, flexibility exercises, and balance exercises. So as you can see, it seems to be very consistent from the different institutes and different organizations that study these issues, and the recommendations that come from them seem to be very consistent. So let's talk a little bit about the actual SAIL class and what it includes. Of course, you know, it is a fitness class. We have an evaluation tool, a class evaluation tool. We have an education component, which is called the SAIL Guide. In that SAIL Guide, you're going to see different assessments that are going to help that senior to know and understand if they're ready for exercise. Let's say they've been sick and they need to figure out whether it's time for them to return to exercise. Anyway, those are some self-assessment tools that are going to be included. Also, a fall risk self-assessment tool, and also in the SAIL class are our fitness checks, which is an objective way to test and give people a baseline of where they are in their fitness. And then those tests are repeated so that that person sees the improvement. So it's so much more than just an exercise class. So this is the components of the SAIL fitness class. We have warm up, and it gives, and you'll see on the slide that it gives an amount of time because the class runs for an hour. So you want to stay within those recommended times. So we have warm up, aerobics, balance exercises, which are mandatory, and strength exercises, which are mandatory. Those particular ones that that you're going to see listed in the SAIL class guide. Stretching and education. We call this WOBS for short. So that will help you hopefully remember all those components. Under the SAIL guide, and again, I'm going to go in more in depth about the SAIL guide in another chapter, but just understand that it has many different components. It has a guide in there to help that senior to build their own exercise plan, to understand their health issues and exercise and how those work together or how they could work against each other, their healthcare needs and medications, their footwear, what's the best, shoe to wear in terms of exercising, and how do I take care of my feet? Again, as we get older, those are issues that we need to think about. Also, assistive devices like canes and walkers, there's information on that, and then home safety. Now, starting the program, we're just going to talk about some basics about starting SAIL. The classroom should be big enough for 20 to 25 participants. We don't recommend that you go much over 25 unless you have another SAIL instructor and you have a really, really large room. But each participant should have a chair. It should be straight back and armless. Also, you want to make sure that you have storage for the wrist and ankle weights, and that you have some type of music system, and of course, age-appropriate music. Fun music is always a plus. The flooring ideally should be wood or linoleum, not highly polished, of course. That makes sense. You don't want it to be slick. And no carpet if possible. I know there's indoor-outdoor carpet. Sometimes it's a very low nap, I think how they say that. That could be possible, but it's not ideal. Again, the class is an hour long. Ideally, 3 times a week. To offer it 3 times a week is the best. We want to allow 1 full day in between the classes for the muscles to rest because they are using weights. But the class should be offered no less than 2 times per week. Now let's talk a little bit about record keeping. So these are the things that should be kept: the SAIL participant release form, the SAIL photo video release form in case you're taking some pictures at times in the class or doing any kind of video. The enrollment form, this gives you a lot of information about the class participant. And then the participant information form. The fitness check form, that is what you're going to do in the beginning within the first couple of weeks of starting the class. You're going to do fitness checks, and so you want to make sure that you have that form and that and it's a good idea usually to have a folder for each person so that you can keep everything separate. And then sign-in sheets are always important to have because we want to know who is coming to the class, and that helps you to keep up with who's there as well. And to get to know people's names is really important. So, and some people say, record keeping, why do we have to do this? And, but you actually will benefit from having those forms and having that information. The participants, they are going to be excited when they see their fitness checks 6 months from, let's say, from the first time that they had it done, and they see the increase in their bicep curls, how many bicep curls they can do. They're going to be excited about that, and it's going to encourage them to keep going and to keep coming to SAIL. Also, the place that you are actually hosting the SAIL class, it's always great information for them, for maybe that director if it's at a senior center, and to be able to share with them the information that you've collected. And then also for those of us who are coordinating the SAIL program, those of us who are master trainers, it's always great for us to hear feedback from instructors and from participants. So for the instructors, some of the things that you can collect and can help you see is your class effective? Some of the survey that you would be doing with your participant is going to give you some of that feedback. It also helps to identify risk factors in individual participants. Let's say a person is diabetic. You need to know that if all possible, to make sure that you kind of understand what their issues are. Or maybe they have Parkinson's disease, and it just helps you to individualize the program for them. It helps you to plan your program. Again, keeping all these records. We think we will remember things, but we really don't. It's really hard to keep up with a lot of people. It helps to educate your participants as well. And it also provides proof to, if your employer is where you're doing the program, if that's your employer, or to potential employers. The fact that you have kept up with these records and you have this information is really important for that. It again gives more motivation to the participants to work harder and get better scores in their fitness checks. And again, you want to make sure you want to keep those things private as much as possible. So checking with the director wherever you're doing the program, making sure that they have a place that you can record and store like your attendance records and the fitness checks. Why do we do this? Because all evidence-based programs should have documented outcomes. And it's also great public relations. I know a lot of towns and cities that have sales, sometimes they have been able to share about the program to like a local newspaper, and that really increases excitement and possibly participation in the program and helps get people interested in it. But it also, again, helps to promote your program. So here are some of the protocols, fitness checks. Try to do that within the first couple of weeks that a person joins. And then you want to try to aim to do it twice a year if possible. And then keep a copy with you. You don't necessarily have to store it at the site. Some people have little cases that file folders that they carry with them wherever they go and they teach. But you do want to make sure the participant gets a copy if they want one. So thank you.